don't even notice.
I'm sure, Britisher.
Like
Good
sarcasm.
evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's episode of Fake Accents Unite. I am joined, as usual, by the effervescent Britisher. Good evening, sir.
Effervescent. Oh my
Yes,
God, I'm
you have
feeling distinctly flat if I am usually effervescent.
You have
But,
such a
good
bubbly,
evening, anyhow.
You're like a what are those?
Did you just say bubbly personality?
Yeah, bubbly
If there's
personality.
one thing that doesn't apply to me, it is
Yep.
bubbly personality.
You know,
Please
like
go on.
what's the name of that tablet that people put in their drinks in the morning, which begins with a B? It's like that fizzes up their drink.
Oh yeah, I know the one you mean. I can't think
like,
what it's called.
Effervescent.
It's sort of a vitamin tablet thing, isn't it? A multivitamin of sorts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe chat will know. I can't remember what it's called. But I'm joined by the Britisher. I'm also joined by Tailed Feature. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
And by Discordia,
Good evening.
who hasn't been on this channel for a little while, but I don't know why though. You just seem to have.
You know, I've been terribly neglected.
You've been fallen off the roster. That's what it is. But no, it's good to have you all on. It's nice to see you again, and lovely to see. Oh, Barocca, chat is saying, amazing.
Yeah,
that's the one.
Yes, Barocca.
You should be called the Barotisher. But
A product placement in the next week that was.
have I mentioned that I'm sponsored now by Barocca? Yes.
No, hang on. This should definitely be me who is sponsored by Barocca if I'm the Barocca show, surely.
You're the Barocca, but you're like product placement. So it's like I bring you on purely as an ad campaign without having to tar myself.
I've just noticed that Discordia still seems to be in Christmas mode.
Yeah, she's sporting her very festive hat. 28 days,
it, but I don't think
December.
It's updated properly. So I'm just gonna run with it.
Yeah, it takes about 15
when
minutes.
When you talk, then you're in the fedora. But the moment that you just look at the icon at the bottom, it's back in the Christmas hat.
No, it looks fine to me.
That thing going on.
It's fine. It's fine for me.
Oh, she's still Christmassy for me. So who knows? We shall see what chat says. But no. I hear you're doing something about hate speech tomorrow, Tailed. What's all this?
Oh yes. So tomorrow I am going to Glasgow to a hate crime consultation. Unfortunately, it's not telling you how to avoid being guilty of hate crime.
Right.
It's more how can we expand hate crime?
What?
I'm not even joking you. I'll read some of the questions that are going to be asked of the participants.
Is this a conference? Or are you being paid for a study or what?
Oh no. It's just they just. I suppose it's probably just a tick box exercise. Yes, we consulted with the public, but then we'll go and disregard everything they said anyway.
Is this something work of
what they do? Yes. So
basically,
sorry.
Did you hear it was in the area, or of work made you do it or something?
No. I just originally it was going to be me and Count Dankula and Goodfella. We're all going to go along and shitlord the place up. But
get himself arrested for hate crime.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. But neither of them can make it, so it's just me now.
Oh, you masochist, you are.
Yes. So I'm definitely, going into the lion's den.
When it comes to these consultations, the way governments tend to use them is if the consultation result is in agreement with government, they will actually then obviously say, well, this has got public support.
Yeah.
If it hasn't, they will just simply ignore it and just plow on anyway.
Yeah.
And in some cases, they will actually claim that they they had support for the consultation, even though they didn't.
Yeah, I think I'm wasting my time.
There are no journalists anymore who actually read the consultation results, and therefore they know that they won't be held to account.
Yeah, pretty much. So this is a question for all you guys. Do you know what a statutory aggravation model is?
No.
Britisher?
I would assume it means that
I'm sorry, that's a microaggression.
A normal crime can be seen as a further aggravating factor to a normal crime. would be that it would have been done for reasons of hate.
Right. Yes. No, that kind of makes sense, because the first question is: do you think the statutory aggravation model should continue to be the core method of prosecuting hate crimes in Scotland?
Oof.
So basically, this person, person A hit person B. Person B is black. Person A is white. Person B claims he was only hit because he was black. Therefore, we'll lock him up for longer than just for hitting someone.
Or it's two offences in one.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, something bizarre. It's such a weird thing. I was talking to my I had a conversation actually, like a 2-hour thing. I'm wondering with my social psychology professor. I'm curious actually. I might try and see if she's willing to sit down and just chat about some stuff at some point, and I can record that. But because she was like, "Oh, I just didn't realize it was used this way." I was like, "Are you serious?" Like your department and your discipline is responsible for some of this. Tim Cornish has just donated $14.99 and said, "B stream bollocks, love this stream, 10k ho, love tailed features, dankular opening, also cheer up Britisher." Thank you very much, Tim.
I'm a one hit wonder really with that.
Very generous
opening.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Cornish.
Yes. Thank you very much.
I can only say your Cornish flag depresses me. Depresses me even more. I am having to sit here with someone with a Scottish saltire across his face, and now I have to see donations come in from another independence movement. What can I say?
I wouldn't exactly. You probably wouldn't be happy if I had the Union flag draped over my face.
No, well, red isn't your colour.
That's not your flag.
Was it Liberal Zardos in chat referring back to the hate crime thing, saying buy one offence, get one free?
Essentially, yeah. Buy one,
yes,
one
I like
sentence, get another free. But there's a couple of things in here that are actually quite terrifying if I'm reading them correctly. So each section has a little recommendation from Lord Brackadale.
Right. Okay.
I don't know who that is, but well, clearly somebody who's in the House of Lords. So there's a whole section about the stirring up of hatred as an offence. So recommendation 13. Stirring up of hatred offences should be introduced in respect of each of the protected characteristics, including any new protected characteristics. And recommendation 14, any new stirring up of hatred offences should A, require conduct which is threatening or abusive, and B, include a requirement, 1, of an intention to stir up hatred, or 2, that having regard to all the circumstances, hatred in relation to the particular protected characteristic is likely to be stirred up thereby. So the question that they're asking is basically, if you say something that could be perceived as stirring up hatred, that should be a crime in of itself.
Well,
or should that be a crime?
Wait until protected characteristic includes something like, I don't know, migrant. Right, that's a protected characteristic.
It does give you a list of what the protected characteristics are, though. So
it makes perfect sense what they're proposing, because you have to understand that to their mind, in their world, hate equates to violence.
Yes.
So hate speech equates to violence. So to incite violence is against the law. Therefore, to incite hatred is against the law. Do you understand? They're just basically they're continuing on in a ruthless fashion with that equation.
Yeah, so I've written some notes here, and I just said I see this being open to so much abuse, and that we live in such a puritanical society at the moment. That making light of certain things or joking about things can often be perceived as condoning the thing that you're joking about, or even it could be akin to violence. Saying something is akin to violence and can lead to violence.
I think sort of one of the sort of more practical things would basically be, would that mean that if Tommy Robinson came to Scotland, he would be arrested?
Well, indeed.
Because that's when they would have to effectively show their true colours.
Yes.
Slightly disturbing.
Because it kind of sounds almost like an anti-Tommy Robinson law, doesn't it?
Little did we know that the entire SNP will get elected purely on their anti-Tommy Robinson policies this year. It's like we're just against one man, just one man. You know, it'll work in America if they just go against Trump.
The next question is: do you agree with the recommendation that any new stirring up hatred offences should require that the conduct is threatening or abusive?
Well, as opposed to just not being in favour of them at all.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, a lot of them I've just said, well, as someone who opposes hate crime laws,
in the first place,
no, I don't agree with this. But essentially, to this question, I'm just going to say, how is that actually any different to inciting violence?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it sounds like a semantic question because, as far as they're concerned, any hate speech is violent anyway. I mean, when you listen to the rhetoric that is used around trans people, when they basically say that not to believe in the concept of men being able to be women and whatever threatens their existence. Do you understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That is, without any threat of violence, they nonetheless manage to present it in such a way. So, therefore, no threat of violence is required therein for them to be able to claim that they are threatened.
Yeah,
I'm thinking I should send you this, Britisher, and you can.
Well, no, I've watched your video. I've actually, I
you hear
that,
Toad? You have a viewer.
Well, fact, I know he's a fan of a certain video I did with a tank in it. I know that.
Oh well, yes, there is the certain tank video, and I still think it should be viral. It should have about 500,000 views by now.
Thanks to
the beauty of YouTube, these things don't happen these days, unless it involves kittens.
So, dear. Someone's just put, "I'm committing face crime as we speak." It's like, can you commit face crime?
Well, that's the smirk.
Aggressive smirking.
Aggressive smirking. Yeah.
If you're smug,
I've worked out that you can smink as well, right? Which is if you smugly wink, then you're guilty of sminking. In the same way that you can smuckle, you can smugly chuckle, right? Like Sargon is especially guilty of this one, right?
Oh yeah.
So smirking is not a laughing matter. Just fantastic. Just don't move or speak whatsoever. I just I always bring it back to Smugly Puff. Like on that one, like do you remember? Except the difference between the two of those was one of them didn't lie to a police officer,
and one of them didn't end up in jail.
Yeah, exactly right.
Did you actually see the question that I sent when you were asking for questions on Twitter?
Yes, I did. I'm in the middle of kind of writing notes up and stuff, so I
was told by at Marshall's Lament, "All right, Sir Humphrey, no need to show off."
Oh yeah. Yes.
So I've got the feeling it might just have been a good one.
Yes, no, I did approve what you said. I can't quite remember exactly what it was, but I'll get to it when I'm writing up my notes tonight, ready for tomorrow. But no, that's very interesting.
It was basically sort of a question to try and trip them up, whereby they basically have to show that it actually has a positive effect. So if their laws don't actually lead to a reduction in hate crimes, well then why have them?
They should be yeeted off the face of the earth.
We all know what's going to happen. They're just going to continue every year to claim a raise in hate crime. So if these hate crimes are rising, then your laws obviously aren't having an effect.
Yeah, well,
as they continually
expand the definition,
broaden the definitions of what it is. It's like we added 300 new definitions of hate crime this year. Why is hate crime going up?
Sorry, Britisher. What was it you said? What was it you said earlier about speech becoming violence? I can't quite remember what it was that you said, but it was
well, they think hatred is violence, and therefore
you're
not allowed legally to incite violence.
Speech equates to violence.
Yes.
Yes.
according to them.
How is it you worded it though? Because I thought it was quite good. Do you remember? I might have to watch.
Sorry,
the stream.
I would have to replay this video.
You'll
So
have to
folks,
go back.
when we're finished with this live stream, please everyone go back and then re-listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, just like 2 or 3 times if
Because
possible.
evidently what I said earlier was very good.
It was that good. I've forgotten it already. No, I wouldn't want to.
It was that memorable. Everybody has already forgotten what it actually was.
It was just so much genius. I couldn't take it all in one go.
You know, he leaked out his brain. I mean, it is full of British quotes, and just one more couldn't make it in there.
The jar has a hole in it. It's leaking.
Like full of Bulgarian and just British quotes. The BMA 051,000 has donated $2. Thank you very much. And says, "Howdy, y'all. Yes, y'all is a proper contraction. Britisher."
Yes, anybody who still thinks that we're in the area of English when people are talking about howdy y'all, I'm sorry, no.
Oh dear. But speaking of the police, hate crime and all, and hate incidences, we have had a fun story this week, haven't we? I'm sure we've all been following the case of Humberside police.
Oh yes.
Oh yes, yes.
And telling a man to literally check his thinking. How much closer?
But
like
at least they didn't ask him to check his privilege.
We had. I'm gutted actually on the Peter Hitchens interview. Like after we finished recording, we were having a chat about 1984 and thought crime, and then this came out afterwards.
Did you just notice that, Tailed, how he just name dropped Peter Hitchens there?
I don't need to name drop him. He's
those people who haven't yet realized that he just recently had a Peter Hitchens interview.
Like
Did he really?
Yeah, no, he had a Peter. Yeah, not so obvious. Had a Peter Hitchens interview. He actually interviewed Peter Hitchens.
Shut up.
There are actually two videos of his, on his channel of him interviewing Peter Hitchens.
Do you mind just?
It was a sort of pleasure to watch.
It was a sort. Yes, a sort of pleasure it was to interview
Yes, it was
him
interesting
as
to
well.
see that no matter what you asked him, he never quite felt the question was good enough.
I don't know. Like, I think if you've asked a man whether or not he's going to take a third biscuit, he's going to be somewhat perturbed in any case.
I don't think he was perturbed. I think he was just like, "You stupid man."
Well, we were having.
I think it's going to be interesting to see just how Academic Agent will try and rationalize that.
I don't know. Academic Agent is fangirling a bit too much to rationalize. So,
well, yes, but it's just it because I mean he is the one who's claiming this is immoral and this or whatever, and now his idol has basically said, "Oh, I have a third biscuit if I feel like it."
yes.
So yes, immorality has suddenly had sort of its line smudged, if you know what I mean.
All that this means will happen is that when Peter Hitchens is helicoptered, AA will do it with a tear in his eye as he sends a minion of his to just say, "I can't do it myself. Like, you minion, push him out for me," as he turns with a tear in his eye. No, it was a good interview. We were talking about like
I've just suddenly got this image of myself in a kind of metallic gold jacket surfing Peter Hitchens as I fall out of the sky.
Yes, Ace Britisher. I got that one. At first I thought, why is he referencing like a jacket that Michael Jackson might wear? But,
it was a Red Dwarf Series 7
it
reference.
is Red Dwarf and Ace Rimmer writing a crocodile-esque Peter Hitchens out of the.
Smoke me a kipper. I'll be back for Barocca.
Very good, very good,
fantastic. Oh dear. Not that AA can say anything about like which biscuits he has, because I gather he has a rather expensive taste anyway. So, like one of his biscuits would be the equivalent of like 10 of ours.
It would be a chocolate Bath Oliver, would it?
Yeah, something along those lines, or at the very least, something from a Fox's Selection box.
Oh yes, of course. Happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, it was my birthday on
Yes, I do.
Oh, Sunday, yes. I'm trying to remember. Like, I had a great time, but a bit messy. Thank you, Momoyomi. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He says, "Can't listen right now, but happy birthday. Have a drink on me." That's fantastic. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a good birthday. I have finished the first quarter of my life. It will be good. Are you on live Discord? Yeah, chat's asking after you in case you're.
I am. I had to mute myself for a second. My cat was doing cat things, knocking stuff off the desk.
Just put him
Screaming
in his wheel and use him to power your house, and that'll be fine.
Like,
But,
you're on
Who's the
stream.
puppy in as
I need
well?
to make some noise.
How's the puppy?
Loud.
Well, you did get a beagle.
He's very cute though. Very cute.
Yes, he is. Mm-hmm.
Also, people in chat are. Oh, that's right. So I'm going to show you something in a second. But don't be too disturbed. Just bear with.
Well, you've built us up too much now.
I'm going to. Basically, my Discord server, which is linked in the description, by the way. Anyone who's new who fancies joining Discord, you can do so.
That's a terrifying meme, is it?
But if I present to everyone, I'll just make sure there's nothing dodgy. Right. First of all, we've got this one. So my avatar has become this.
Nice.
Strong. There were Peter Hitchens memes, naturally.
Of course.
About that one.
That's quite well done, that one, actually.
But there's this, which I find incredibly disturbing.
Absolutely immoral.
Absolutely immoral. But I made a bet with the Discord. I was like, if I make £100 or whatever on a stream one day, I will make this my avatar for a month. So they're desperately, as you can see, going £84 more to go. Supermarket Chan should happen, and so on. New entrants must pay.
Well, chat, you know how to make it happen.
€1 super chat fees must be paid to NSO or face punishment. That's hilarious. But we'll see how that goes.
This is why I need to make my own Discord. But then I don't think anyone would actually use it.
I don't know. Hardly anyone uses mine, which is why you should come to my Discord and enjoy yourselves.
Yeah, but you've got minions that make you memes.
What's a Discord?
You don't need to worry about it, British.
It's a kind of sailing boat, like a yawl.
What on earth is rub currency? Let me see. Oh, Russian rubles. You got viewers from Russia. 100 rubles from Sabatinsky, who says, "Thanks for your stuff." Also, Britisher. Historical anecdotes show when.
That's every stream, isn't it?
That's every show is a Britisher anecdote stream. I do think, though, that it might be interesting if you did record some of your historical anecdotes, Britisher, just for fun, like a historical kind of like snippets of history.
But this is just it. If for these things to come forth, they kind of need to be triggered.
Well, you do, but you could go through like all my other streams, thus giving me extra views and you collecting evidence for your whatever historical snippet you want to give. But I don't know. But perhaps think back through.
Yeah, but like the Britisher top 10. Top 10 historical snippets.
Oh, yes. What is it? Next on the Alternative Influencers Network. Not so obvious, working for Putin, confirmed. Sponsored by Russian bots. Yeah.
Well, if start giving you money, then
using Super Chat to funnel me my payoff for whatever spy work I'm doing.
And I get patriarchy checks every now and then. So.
Every day. Every day. Like, they come in regular and consistent. But back to the main story of this evening. We have 220. We have 220 odd people watching. Thank you very much, everyone. And
we need more likes.
Thank you for all the support on the interview as well. Like, I really do appreciate it. So this story, which happened with Humberside police, was. For those of you who just have managed to avoid this, it was all over Twitter, but most of you probably aren't on Twitter. So Harry Miller said he faced 34 minutes of phone questions from a police constable after liking a post I can't remember which post it was. Like, I don't know if it's been removed or not.
It was a limerick that was, shall we say, critical of
Well,
transgenderism.
Technically, it's not a limerick, but then again, I don't know. I've not seen the original thing.
It had a rhyming couplet in it, I'm sure, and
it's like this thing. And he says, a limerick cop read me a limerick over the phone, and then after telling the PC that he didn't like it, he didn't write it. Sorry, he said, "Oh, but you liked it and you promoted it with your retweet. It's not a crime, but it will be recorded as a hate incident." And it was this stuff saying, like, you know, they were treating the person who'd reported it as a victim and stuff like that. And I'm like, and rightly, he pointed out that in order for there to be a victim, there must be a crime, per se. So it was difficulty. And then he told me I needed to watch my words more carefully, or I was at risk of being sacked by my company for hate speech.
Even though by the sound of it, he actually owns the company. But,
yeah, so
the threat was nonetheless there.
Yeah.
And so it's like the police haven't suggested he did anything illegal, but it's very sinister. It feels completely mad.
Have you seen Humberside Police's response that came out not that long ago? It was today.
Yeah, I have just
they
linked
said
it to you in, Discord.
something along the lines of.
I've got the post here if you want me to read it.
Yeah, have you got the link? Because I'll.
Yes.
I've just linked you it in Discord.
In Discord, let's have a look.
I was just going to put it in the side chat here, but there you go. That's the one.
Following media coverage over the last few days, I want to provide some clarity around why the police investigate hate incidents. Oh yeah, this was this weird thing as well, where they were, because other people were like, "Are you going to investigate these people?" and posted up a load of verified hate stuff. And they were like, "It's not in Humberside. We're not investigating it," even though the original case wasn't in Humberside, and neither was the person who reported him. So it's just completely bizarre. More than 30 tweets were reported to us of a transphobic nature, not just this liked or retweeted limerick, as some reports suggested. It isn't the case of the police controlling people's thoughts. The actions caused someone distress. We take this seriously and aim to ensure they do not escalate into anything further. You couldn't have just given the trans or whoever got offended a tissue and said, "Oh, that's a shame." The correct decision was made to record the report as a hate incident as opposed to a hate crime, and to proportionately progress by making contact with the individual concerned to discuss his actions taken on social media. There is evidence to show hate-related incidents are already underreported because people feel they won't be taken seriously and don't have confidence in the police. This is really doing a good job to push up confidence in the police, isn't it? Like amongst the general population.
Yeah, I just do hope that nobody feels distressed and feels the need to get in touch with Humberside Police to complain about their post. Heaven forfend anybody felt distressed.
And then someone put up replying to this whole Daily Mail article, said, "I am an unashamed liberal lefty snowflake, but this is ridiculous." No one clipped that, by the way. Whilst I assume, without hearing it, wouldn't approve of said limerick, the idea of Humberside Police contacting someone without saying how stretched and underfunded, while saying how stretched and underfunded they are, over liking a Twitter post is pathetic. And Humberside said, "Oh, we take all this seriously, blah, 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 blah. We will take proportionate action." And so people, including Rubber, interestingly, have started aggressively limericking at Humberside Police. And I thought I'd just, share a few of those with you just because it's funny. Let me see. Silly Sailor, by the way, £5 says, "Speaking of puppies, did you see the BuzzFeed story in The Sun? Happy birthday." No, I haven't, Silly Sailor. If you link it to me on Discord, we'll have a look. Pterodax DM'd you a Hitchens meme. Congrats on 18k views. Yeah, we've just passed 20k now, I think, actually, on that one. So I'm rather pleased with how that went, because I thought at first it would peter out about get it, Peter? It would peter out about 10k, but that was fun. Yeah, so Rubber Comedy. There were some dim coppers from Humberside who wouldn't investigate homicides. Burglaries or fraud, for them no reward, but for thought crimes there's no place to hide.
Nice. Didn't steal it from Bill Bailey this time.
No, unlike some people who just steal everything from Bill Bailey. If you don't understand that reference, there's a literature stream that you should watch after this stream.
Well, no, it was the fact that I happened to see a tweet from Rubber, and it was exactly it was a part of the Bill Bailey Chaucer thing that he'd adapted slightly, and it was completely,
Oh dear.
completely unrelated to that stream, but he'd posted it, and I went, "This is a bit weird that you posted that." I went, "You just stole that from Bill Bailey, though," and he's like, "Yeah, I did." So.
Classic Rubber, plagiarizing all over the shop. There once was a man from the Humber who was harshly woken from slumber for the terrible crime of retweeting a rhyme, and now the cops have his number.
Nice.
Let me see. His grandmother survived the Blitz. His grandfather died fighting the Fritz, and to their dismay, he spends most of the day policing the speech of the Brits. Dear, I just love these. I love these little things. I wish he'd recorded the conversation. Obviously, you don't really think to do that, but it's just pretty grim. There once was a man with a rhyme who found himself charged with a crime. The cops checked their sheets. He'd made 30 tweets, and now he is doing hard time.
Nice.
Just, I'm a big fan.
See,
Basically.
the thing that
What
gets
exactly rhymes with £800?
Other than UKIP frowns, I don't know.
Yeah, I think this whole thing of hate incidents, when they inevitably become crimes, these things that have been happening, do you not think that the people who that are now on a list of dodgy people who do hate incidents, they're going to be the first people that the police start looking at to then actually prosecute and to charge with hate crime? Because I think that's going to be the next step.
That's just like the whole thing around hate crime. I just find bizarre. Like,
it's in a way, it's another list of things for which you can get people which may originally have been looked at for something else, as Tails was just saying. Inverted commas, dodgy people. So, I mean, for example, why these days is it a standard procedure to take anyone's computer away?
Yes.
It's, well, let's have a look if there's something on there we can find. So even if the original thing, so they may have raided someone's house because they think he was a cannabis dealer or something like that, and it turns out he isn't. But we found this. We found this on his computer.
Yes, that was yes. They used this.
Do you remember there was those two chaps? Were they in Leeds? I'm not sure. They were Muslims, heavily bearded fellas or whatever. But it turned out they had absolutely no connection to terrorism. But there had been some sort of malicious allegation, and they'd been swatted, which involved when the police came through the door, one of them actually came down the stairs, in his pajamas or whatever. I said, "What on earth is going on?" And was shot. So he was innocently swatted. He was shot by an overzealous policeman who thought he was about to be Allahu Akbar by someone in an explosives vest. And then, to top it all, they then charged him with possession of child porn.
Oh, good grief.
Which then turned out not to be.
That's pretty grim.
So, do you understand what I mean? So, it's kind of plan B. And we've taken his computer away. Well, perhaps we can make something out of this.
Yeah.
Trust you,
covering their own backs.
Why do you have to consistently and constantly ruin my view of people, Britisher? I mean, honestly.
Well, not really of people. It's just of the law.
Hurrah! The stream has just been demonetized, by the way. Hooray!
Has actually?
Yeah,
so
genuinely.
Was it just the sound of my voice?
Well, obviously. Or
Probably.
We've heard that voice before.
That Britisher fella on there.
Yes, yeah, we've just been giving him a hard time on his latest video. So yeah, this seems to be his voice. So let's demonetize this also. Yes.
You're just so demonetizable, Britisher. I don't know what it is. Whenever I see you, I have an urge to steal revenue from you. I don't know what it is. Just the sight of your avatar is enough.
Or deny you revenue.
to deny revenue. Yeah, like you think you're getting a cent? In fact, I'll tease you with a little green icon for about 30 seconds, and then it can go away. So it's fine. Let me see. A couple of super chats have just come in. Iggy says, for £2, thank you. Stream funded in part or full by the Russian state. Yes. That Indian dude from Australia has given $5 Aussie. Thank you very much. And says, I did not expect Not So Obvious to look like the academic agent's Iranian relative. Did I look Iranian in my interview? I don't know. Did I look particularly Iranian, Britisher?
Oh, extremely.
Oh,
You definitely have that Persian look about you.
That's like the look of someone who smuggles pork across the border, yes.
Someone that's going to start purring at any moment.
I'm not a Persian. And Bailey Inio, £5. Thank you very much, sir. Says, if you give me 6 lines written by the hand of the most honest of men, I will find something in them which will hang him. Cardinal Richelieu. Yes, it's actually remarkably accurate and not at all amusing. But no, thank you for that one. What were we talking about? Oh, yes. Silly Sailors just linked me this article, right? And it is the BuzzFeed one. Do you know about this one?
I saw it. He posted it on Twitter as well.
Yeah. So leaked messages reveal BuzzFeed staff have rowed over having emotional support puppies after 15% of their staff are axed. So 220 workers were let go over multiple divisions, including their news department. If you can call it that, that news should be like in inverted commas. I mean, really. But yeah, leaked messages have revealed BuzzFeed staff argued about bringing dogs into the office amid sweeping layoffs. And they begged the CEO to bring in emotional support animals after revelations that 15% of their staff would be losing their jobs this week. And he's jumped on the idea of vowing to do it, whilst other disgruntled members of staff pointed out that dogs won't save us from this hell. I presume those are the workers who know that they're going to be gone. You know, like there's just some people. It's just some people who know that they do such a shit job that they're going to be first for the ags. The messages exposed by Splinter News are posted on a blah 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 blah. In my opinion, now like they have to clarify that IMO means in my opinion. I really hope that the guy didn't put in my opinion in brackets after his own contraction. Now is probably a good time to bring therapy puppies in for every office. Like it's the ultimate safe space. It's like even when we're burning you, at least we'll have therapy puppies. Perhaps some coloring books in the corner. You know, to go. I mean, they've already got crayons. I mean, how else do they write the news? But
they need a ball pit.
Yeah, a ball pit.
How about we just bring the puppies in instead? I bet we get better news.
Probably. It'd be more accurate anyway.
Others were looking at the CEO. It really sucks. It really sucks to lay them off. Nothing is more BuzzFeed than collectively being distracted by the promise of dogs during a brutal mass layoff. To be honest, can we not have dogs? It's like, I can't imagine people walking out of meetings where they've just been laid off to the sound of people laughing in the dog room, like frolicking with the puppies. It's just amazing.
What I think is worth pointing out, of course, is that there have been quite a few articles on the BBC over time in which the BBC sort of said, oh, well, in this survey, which the BBC did jointly with BuzzFeed, yeah, they've been sort of hand in hand with them for some time now. And when I was watching, BBC News Channel earlier, they had a sort of piece on in which some chap who was very, very grim-faced was talking about these layoffs at BuzzFeed and how we do have to understand that they may have a reputation for sort of light-hearted stuff, but in reality there was some really serious journalism being conducted there and whatever. So that's the BBC line being taken.
I mean, just the idea of linking BuzzFeed to hard-hitting journalism is kind of laughable. It's just, A chat is saying colouring books would be racist, by the way. They'd have to be books of colour.
Yeah, so you got a super chat, I think.
Oh, all right, Ted. I'll get to the super chat. Christian,
quickly.
I always feel when someone is about to read out a super chat that there should be someone going dum 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 dum.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
you can do that.
Was that a sort of a dad joke? Was that much too old?
You can just
people are just much too sort of fresh-faced and young to have any recollection of that particular movie.
Look,
I got it.
Everyone got it.
I just didn't react.
We didn't react. Well, British, if you want to do that in the background whenever I read a super chat, I'm sure it could become a meme very quickly. Christian Verti has donated. Come on, British, go on, get to your job. Come on. Donated €5. Thank you very much. And says the law enforcement will do naught to stop grooming, considering the industry is booming. Instead, they will send the hounds to catch a running £800.
Nice.
It's a good effort there. There was definitely worth €5. Thank you. It's fantastic.
I was just checking your Discord and unfortunately it's not filled with limericks about fake accents, I'm afraid.
We'll get there.
It's disappointing.
They'll catch up eventually, I'm sure. People putting books of colouring.
Well, you see, the people who make these kind of memes for this particular stream, they are more thoughtful and they take their time because they don't want to produce anything quite as lightweight as the people who just do things for unpopular opinions.
Yeah, although
you got to produce. Go on, Tim.
Sorry, they are actually taking a tally of how many super chats you're getting.
Of course they are. They're desperate for me to have like the anime profile picture. So it's funny, but what they fail to realize is that I'm generating this super chat based on how much I actually received. So they've got to take 30% off whatever their total is.
I was actually going to ask that if I was to give you
you wouldn't dare
£52 and 1 pence, then actually it still wouldn't be enough because that would make £100, but then we could have taken 30 off.
For goodness sake!
Fine. I'm not sending you another 50 quid.
No. But thank you for the £50. It helped pay for the interview room.
All you guys can blame me about the Hitchens interview. It was my fault.
It was great. People are asking about why I said in response to the Iranian thing about smuggling pork across the border. That's because that's literally what AA does. He literally smuggles pork across the border to his uncles who love sausages but can't get it in Iran. Oh dear. Liberal Zardos has donated £2 and says, "Come on, Britisher, you're supposed to be, doing the theme music in the back of the super chat." £2 from Liberal Zardos, who says, "Dogs can save us. Vote for me and my dog, 2020."
I'd vote for a man with a dog.
Do you know what the sad thing is? I could see that being a legitimate political strategy in this day and age. I mean,
isn't that what Dank's running on?
We've had. That would be fantastic. That would be absolutely phenomenal. I mean, we've already had.
And this is Buddha. Vote for me.
I could just see Donald Trump outside the White House during the election campaign, and his colleague comes running towards him, and he stops him and rubs him behind the neck and goes, "What was that? What was that last week? Jenny has fallen down the well."
Well, we've already had Hillary Clinton, who ran on a campaign which was basically just vote for me and my pussy. So vote for me and my dog. I can see.
I thought Hillary's brilliant election strategy was hot sauce in a handbag.
Hot sauce in a handbag? Sorry, you're gonna have to explain this to me.
Sounds very rude.
She always carries some hot sauce with her in her bag.
Why?
Because no doubt her election strategists somehow surmised that would help her with the black vote. I kid you not. She said that. She always carried some hot sauce with her in her bag.
One of the funniest things with when Hillary was
Donald Trump turning up saying, "Yeah, I've got a watermelon in my bag."
It's just like, you want some fried chicken? There was this fantastic compilation of the many accents of Hillary Clinton, and I can't remember where I found it, but it was like every state she went to, she affected the accent of that state. So it's really funny to hear her like in some of the deep South states, as
So
opposed to the northern one.
the further south she went, the more often she suddenly started referring to a fore and aft rigged yacht.
Yes, that's exactly what
Obviously,
I was
yeah. That's the thing. Bet she drinks grape soda too.
Lawrence in chat has a brilliant idea of sending BuzzFeed Buddha.
I wouldn't know whether to pet him or be triggered.
Who is the Mormon? Who is the Mormon presidential candidate again?
I have no idea. Absolutely,
He was one of the last. He was one of the recent ones, wasn't he?
People
who stood against Obama, didn't he? I forget his name. He was that memorable. But there's one thing.
The guy,
Romney.
Romney, Mitt Romney, that was it. But I remember distinctly him standing in front of a crowd in which obviously this is some kind of regional dish or whatever. And he stands there, arms outstretched, and he declares to a hall of screeching fans, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I love grits. And it was just, it kind of became a meme at the time, if you know what I mean. And
American politics,
it was just
man.
unbelievable. It was just, it's like sort of Theresa May turning up in Scotland at an election rally and declaring, I love porridge. It's just, I mean,
except the difference is we wouldn't cheer, we'd tell her fuck off.
I mean, we do that anyway. But people are saying because Hillary has so many accents, she could be on Fake Accents Unite.
Well, I don't think she's got much else happening at the moment, does she?
Well, I have no idea other than just being made of plastic.
Again, I mean, all those backstabbing campaigns against the various people presently wanting to be candidate for the presidency for the Democratic Party. I mean, that will take some organizing. So chances are she's busy right now.
Isn't she busy just working out who all is to blame other than her for her losing?
Yes, who else
She's
can
blamed everybody.
I direct my ire at this week?
It's like Dominic saying it's like when David Cameron pretended to enjoy a pint.
Call me Dave.
Call me Dave. Oh, Dave. Just like, I think American politics are ridiculous, and then I remember who we have in office.
Yeah,
it's like
he pretended to enjoy a pint and did the same thing that most dads do, like leave your child in the pub.
If you want the alternative influencers network to disappear in its entirety, Sargon to become destitute, etc., all you need to do is fire Diane Abbott, David Lammy, and Theresa May. That's all you need to do, and that's it. Just leave it at that, and they go away.
If only it was that simple, because the problem is they are legion.
Oh yes, like they're all yes, quite. Like I'm making a joke, British. For goodness sake. The Harry Channel has donated $10. Thank you very much, sir. That's generous. Mark, are you planning a serious literature stream at some point? The last one, whilst entertaining, seemed a bit light on the literature. Yes, I got absolutely roasted by Sarah after that one, because Tailed Feature and the British and chat decided to derail the entire stream and take it on a political slant. I blame them in their entirety.
I blame you. You didn't even ask me what my favourite book was.
No, I didn't ask you what your favourite book was. But we did get you to recite Bill Bailey. So
I don't remember being asked what my favourite book was either.
I can't remember. Wait, were you even on that stream?
No, no wonder Peter Hitchens criticised every question you asked.
You didn't criticise. I didn't ask him. No, and again, I got in trouble for not asking him what his favourite poem was because Sarah really wanted to know. Britisher, you've done planes and tanks. Is it submarines next?
I'll have to think. I've not really done planes. I mean, I've done the Battle of Britain, which obviously involved planes and critiquing German flying greenhouses. But I could still technically do, 5 top planes. But we'll see what I come up with.
Can you imagine what happens if, all of your political content basically gets the views that it does, but this one meme video you make on top 5 tanks goes absolutely mental viral?
Yeah, I don't think there's any danger of that. What can I
Lindy
say?
Beige retweets it or something.
Last week, I had a video of lots of rather shapely models in skin-tight, shiny catsuits.
Oh, yes, the Gillette thing, yeah.
Yeah, and then I did the top tanks, which so basically I've got girls in tight outfits and I've got tanks,
And next
and
it was
neither
top
of them
10
have reached 10,000.
And then you need the next one, which will be top 10 tank tops, right?
Yeah, precisely.
So you can
Thank
get the best of both worlds.
Someone give him $10 for that, please.
Don't pay me any more money. Like I will not change my avatar to that thing.
You heard it here. Mark doesn't want any more money.
Whatever. I've screwed myself here.
You have.
A little bit.
Oh dear.
Top 10 tank top work tops. I don't know.
Should have asked Peter how it feels living in his dead brother's shadow.
Dark.
That's dark. I was specific, like when one of the main reasons I got that interview was because I told him that I was going to try and ask him questions he'd not been asked before, and by extension, kind of implicitly, that meant not ever bringing up his brother and other stuff. And then I was thrown off immediately when he arrived because I was like, "Do you want a glass of water?" And he was like, "Don't touch the stuff. Disgusting." And I was like, "You don't like water?" And he was like, "No, it's wretched."
I didn't know he had Scottish blood in him.
And I was just like, "That's fantastic." You know,
I have a glass of ushka right here.
kind of feel, but like, many people have told me that I don't know, that I should do it more as a discussion and an interview if I get another one next time.
Basically, is that a glass of whiskey or is it a glass of whiskey bar?
No,
It's
not
Scotch.
Chanil ishka beha. It's not whiskey.
Well, that was just you clearing your throat.
No, that's well.
Have we got a Gelf in chat? I don't know.
Another Red Dwarf reference. Excellent.
Mm-hmm. We use any Red Dwarf references.
Have you read the Red Dwarf books?
I have not. I didn't realize there were literature.
Yes, that's you would have known that if you'd asked me on the.
Because it's your favorite. And
No,
here I thought you'd respond the hungry caterpillar.
I haven't read it, so don't spoil it for me.
I'm still waiting for someone to open a YouTube channel with limited credibility called Cred Dwarf.
Oh,
sorry.
There's a bit in one of the Red Dwarf books where they're talking about Gelfs and how Gelfs ended up doing all the sporting events because sport got really boring with humans because obviously we've kind of reached our
peak
absolute potential. Yeah, exactly. So there was nowhere else they could go. So they started getting Gelfs, and the joke basically was that the Scottish football team had essentially a giant rectangle as a goalie in the World Cup, but still didn't get still didn't get into the quarterfinals.
Yes,
strong. I'm going to need to read those. That's
they are actually really good. I mean, obviously they're based on the series, so there's a lot of stuff you'll know, but there's other bits in it as well. That
I just adore the universe and everything about it. It's it's great for me.
Was this written by separate people, or was this written by the actual script writers of Red Dwarf?
It was written by the script writers.
Yeah.
Oh, I might have to find it.
Of course, we've got an important day coming up tomorrow, politically, theoretically, anyway, with the whole MPs voting on their amendments to the Brexit deal, isn't it? That's what's going on. Something to that effect.
Something along those lines, yes. But we still don't quite know how it will pan out. Yes.
No, I think for anyone who's wondering, I'm going to Westminster tomorrow, and you can come and say hi. There's a like a pro-Brexit demonstration or something that I've been invited to. So if you want to come say hi, I will be there. There you go. It's sort of like unofficial general meetup-y type thing.
I can already see it now on BBC News. You know, you racing down the street with a EU flag and oh
yeah, with my face painted blue and yellow.
Two dozen pro EU demonstrators racing after you. Yes.
Yeah, I could see that. Obviously, wearing like what kind of clothing would I be wearing if any at all, or am I just draped in the flag only, like painted like from head to toe and that sort of thing? For some reason, someone called Magoot in chat is saying, ask the Britisher about the merits of the 1845 officer's sabre.
It's oddly specific.
It's very specific. I presume. Did you design this one, Britisher? Or
Oh, well, I mean, obviously I was involved. I'm just trying to remember what the name is of the chap. Is it Fallon or something like that? There is a guy who does a. I mean, he's one of those people who can be forgiven for being American. I believe he studied over here, and while he was over here, he started making these videos. I actually have exchanged 1 or 2 emails with him, or was it actually YouTube messages, which is a very flaky way of trying to talk to somebody because it doesn't always work. And he does a wonderful sort of YouTube channel on redcoats and everything regarding that. So he would definitely be the person to know about the 1814 model of sabre. Whereas I'm afraid I'll have to pass on that. So you see, you know, I have the competence to refer you to the relevant expert, but I wouldn't know myself.
I see. Well, people are saying you need to generate a segment on the best British sabre. So, I mean, you have no choice now. The market has decided you need to listen to your audience, Britisher. Otherwise, you'll never go anywhere. Be more like me.
Yes, yeah.
Listen to the
I
audience.
I think they're asking me to be more like Mr. Shadiversity.
Oh, quite possible. I mean, he's quite successful. So
yes, yes.
What was I saying? I need to get Undoomed on a stream actually, because he keeps hearting any comments I leave on his videos. So I'm like, oh, he's noticing me. Okay, we should get him on at some point. He has a rather glorious fake accent. He could come on this one.
Just don't do it. If you try and do an impression of him, he'll say that's a very good Dave Cullen impression, because that's what happened when I was like, hey everyone and welcome back, and he was like, that's a really good Dave Cullen impression you've got there.
To bring at risk of bringing too many Red Dwarf references, that sounded remarkably like a certain disease, if you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yes, indeed, it did.
Yeah.
Yes, granted.
Like a game show host.
Yes. I'm trying to remember what series that was in.
One of the later ones,
That was 7 or 8.
Kachansky cuts his arm off.
Yeah, we
Trying
must
to
be
get rid of it.
It must be 7.
My left arm, I said. My left arm. It's just, there you go. But no, so we've got this vote going on tomorrow. But there's lots of people who are commenting on it, like trying to predict stuff, and I just don't think it's predictable at this point. The whole, is the Brexit fog going to clear? You know, that sort of thing. I think that's Laura Koonsberg or whatever.
Well, you see, my main worry is that, I mean, what's the chap called? You know, the one who came to temporary fame for being the one to whom one had to send the letters, you know, the chairman of the 1922 committee. He apparently has proposed an amendment, and it seems to kind of have unofficial government backing. And that would be just to get rid of the Northern Ireland backstop. Or to somehow rephrase that, but to keep the rest of the agreement in place. And my problem is that I have a problem with the entire agreement, not just with the backstop.
Yeah.
And therefore, this kind of, you know, oh, well, if we get everybody to focus on this one particular problem, and we just keep on talking about the Northern Ireland backstop, and it's the Northern Ireland backstop which is causing the problem, and we have to do something about the Northern Ireland backstop.
It does seem incredibly deflecty, doesn't it?
And couldn't we just change the wording on that, and then everybody would have a reason to vote for it nonetheless? And you just feel, yeah, I'm just a little cynical regarding that.
There's been a lot of stuff about ruling out no deal. Like, I've seen a lot of no deal fear mongering.
Yes. Today they had the supermarkets come out,
but there was like this big extra thing about, like, the government is now putting down plans to like impose martial law.
Yeah.
And to ration food and blankets for people because we're going to lose, like, power and food and all this stuff. And I just go, good.
Don't people already have blankets?
It's like what kind of, not even that though. Like, I mean, that's such an extreme. They were like likening it like this is the equivalent of like the bomb going off in Japan at the end of World War II. Like, this is insane. I mean, it's utterly insane. I
mean,
just
today they had the supermarkets, basically the sort of the kind of association of food suppliers, so to speak. They came out saying, "Oh well, there could be food shortages up to 6 months."
I just don't see it happening. Like the trade will go on.
I mean, the one thing I don't quite get about that logic is that would be the food coming into our country. So why would we give anybody trying to bring food into our country a hard time bringing it?
Yeah, like we're paying them for it. Like it's nothing. It's also dozens and dozens, like
and remember, even if you want to say the delay would be caused not by the lorries returning into the UK with food, but it would be caused by all the lorries being stuck trying to get out of the UK in the first place with their loads. Remember, the port chief of Calais has insisted
that they will be functioning. Yeah. They'll be functioning. Like the Europeans are like, we'll be fine. As in, like, we're going to keep functioning in sending you people and stuff. Like, and we're going to still take your stuff. So I just don't get it. There's just let me see where we got. There are lots of amendments. Rule out no deal is a big thing. Table an amendment to include alternative Brexit options, such as Labour's plan, second referendum, no deal, and a Norway-style relationship, preferred by some MPs and PHNs. Watch that interview. But
yes, I'm waiting. Given that you mentioned that, I'm now waiting for AA to suddenly soften on his Brexit stance and start embracing the Norway option.
AA is in a funny place right now because he's sick. I mean, he's always sick, but I mean, he's actually ill. And I told him to grow up. And that was about it. I said,
I think you will understand. I am not really in a position to make many jokes about that.
No. Are you ill yourself?
No, but I am famous for my illnesses.
Oh, fair enough. Like the great cough of '93. I understand. Yes. It's like a lot of these amendments are just grim. But it's like Labour MP Rachel Reeves amendment: postpone Brexit Day. That's it, without specifying how long either. Just postpone it forever. Rejecting no deal, and this is both sides of the fence. You know, like it's nothing. It's not like a partisan issue or anything. But you go. So it's like, oh, but by the way, at the end it just says none of these amendments, if successful, would be binding. much like the referendum itself, according to some.
Oh, but something tells me that if anybody manages to get something through in Parliament that would in any way delay or otherwise scupper Brexit, I think you would somehow manage to see it through.
So apparently, the only one which actually has heft is Yvette Cooper's, because that one is she's presenting it as a bill, so it would become law. And she's saying, attempt to rule out the UK leaving the EU without a formal deal by allowing parliamentary time to pass new law. The bill to bring in the law would require Theresa May to seek to postpone Brexit Day until the 31st of December if MPs do not approve her deal by February 26th.
Yes, so basically she is giving it time until somewhere mid-February. So technically she is allowing Theresa May to succeed with whatever option she would have, but thereafter Parliament would effectively take control, and that seems to be what all these things are really about. It's about Parliament seeking to the MPs are seeking to basically take it off the hands of government and have Parliament seize control of it.
You know how in America Pelosi has shut down the government? theoretically.
Well, I mean, that's kind of debatable, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Like, but what's although it is funny how much it's cost them so far, because the pro-Trumpers are going mental about it because their shutdown has apparently cost $6 billion, like in all the departments that didn't do work, etc. And yet Trump's wall cost $5 billion, according to him. But
Nice.
yeah, it's just people talking about the illnesses of the world that Britisher has suffered. Britisher recently fought off bubonic plague, that sort of thing. This is all down to Mark not knowing how to take care of a brain jar, that sort of thing. That's quite funny. And then people moaning about the Norway option. Like, can we close the government? Is what I was getting at with that thing, and say, and just so we crash out in March,
You guys need your own devolved parliament, so then
we should devolve parliamentary powers. Can Scotland give us some of our powers, please? Like, we feel so weak and ineffectual down here.
federal
we shut down
UK.
government,
In all fairness,
Corbyn would just say, "Well, I'm prime minister now."
But in all
like,
fairness, it's what is actually happening is that we are actually trying to get a devolved parliament, a parliament devolved from the EU.
Yeah.
And the very parliament that would be devolved is scratching and screaming and trying to resist by all means from actually getting
Its
those
powers,
devolution powers. Yeah.
I mean, like, there's also been talk that, like, we've already said that we'll pay the 39 billion divorce bill, regardless of whether or not it's a no deal or not. Like, people are like, "You're going to have to do it." Like, no, no deal means no deal. Fuck off.
There is one sort of thought that I've been having sort of recently on this whole thing, and that is Brexit is often equated with Donald Trump. So basically, Brexit is kind of the British version of what happened with Donald Trump. So it's part of that same sort of rebellion, if you wish. But what we are basically seeing, the reason we are seeing such completely different courses, is because the Americans voted for someone, whereas the British voted for something.
Yeah.
And as we can see, this is kind of throwing up completely different, different versions, so to speak. So the Americans have now got someone in charge who is of that nature.
Yeah,
whereas
who actually
in Britain,
knows.
we still have the entire political class that was already in charge before, still in charge now.
Just sitting there going, shit.
Yeah, kind of sitting there trying to work out how they can undo what we have voted for.
You've survived more diseases, by the way, Britisher. I'm just going to round it back to that for a second. Britisher was the first survivor of Ebola. Yes, did you visit Sierra Leone recently? Britisher fought off the Great Spanish Flu.
Single-handedly.
Dengue fever and malaria.
Yeah, with an 1814 model saber, was it?
Britisher miraculously survived the French disease.
Just being French, is that what that is?
And then there are people saying, "Stop being mean."
The French disease, according to the British, is syphilis.
All right. Well, that makes sense.
But it's funny that various other countries have other names for it. So I believe the Germans also call it the French disease. The Polish, I believe, call it the German disease, if I'm not mistaken. So basically, everybody reflects it on those people they don't like.
The French call it the French disease as well, then?
But no, I think the French have. I think they refer it to the Spanish or something like that.
They just call it the Little Death, don't they? I was talking to some of my Polish friends the other day, and they were like, they were moaning about how they were invaded all the time or something, and I was like, I don't know how to respond to this. And they were like, "We didn't either. Germany just kept coming in." Let me see. Christian Chad has donated $5. Thank you very much. And says, "Mark, are you sure your voice didn't crack or quiver in the presence of Hitch the Greater? Also, what would you have done differently?" I definitely didn't. My voice didn't crack, although I might have laughed a bit nervously. But and as for differently, I would have left the cameras rolling longer, and I think I should have structured the questions in a better order. So I think I could have gone down more tangents that way. So, for instance, when Hitchin said, "I've never really been a Democrat," I should have kind of pounced on that and followed that path where it went. I wish I had been a bit better off the cuff, but that's all on that one. And that Indian dude has donated another $5 Aussie. Thank you very much. And says, "Leave Britisher alone. He is the survivor of the Black Death." It explains a lot. I mean, he didn't really survive. Only his brain survived, but at least we have that part.
I was the one way back when who brought the initial plagues to the Roman Empire from Ethiopia. Yes.
What about the original plagues to the Egyptian Empire? The Britisher rained down like frogs upon
No, that
the
was my
land.
cousin.
Oh, it was your cousin. What, the Egypter? Is that right?
Precisely, yes.
But yeah, no, that's
And by the way, he pronounces it the Egypter. Yes.
the Egypter,
Yes.
as opposed to your other cousin, the Ejector. I don't know where I'm going with this. I mean, like, it's 10:15. It's late, maybe. I'm gonna use that as an excuse.
Good excuse.
But no, I don't really think. There's a lot of stuff talking about whether or not Rees-Mogg is ready to compromise on the backstop now. I don't see him doing that. I just don't see it tomorrow going anywhere at all, to be perfectly honest. Like, I see the amendments being proposed. Theresa May will make a big show out of going, "My deal is the best deal," and these amendments don't say anything. And then people will vote on them, and then she'll go, "I listen and I appreciate what you say," but also they're not binding. And Yvette Cooper's thing is not going to pass because Labour will oppose the Conservatives making it a law of any description. So,
by the way, if I could just interject, Prospero 58, yes, and you better be.
Oh, I've got to see what my adopted mother said.
British is the British's cousin your adoptive mother?
No, Prospero 58 is my adopted mother.
Well, that makes sense, right?
Yes. How?
Look, don't question it.
None of it makes sense to me.
Don't question it. It's like it's a very holistic approach. We kind of roll with the punches. Makes
Don't
sense
question
to me.
anything.
Nope. Just go with it. So that's my prediction for tomorrow. Like, Theresa May will make some gratifying noises after the amendments are voted on, and then nothing will happen. That's basically it. I don't know. Like, do we think it's going to delay? Do you think we'll actually leave on the 29th of March or whatever it is?
No.
Or do you think she'll actually get some delaying action till December or whatever?
Well, I mean, I think we all kind of agree that in Parliament there is a majority to not have a hard Brexit on the 29th. So as long as there is the majority, even though they can't agree on an option, they will be able to agree not to have it then.
Quite possibly. Liberal Zardos donated £2, says, "British Alive Aid, save him from the brain jar." If I take him out the brain jar, he dies, Like, you know what? It's very gracious of me to put him close enough to the gramophone for him to be able to speak, to be perfectly honest. Do you not think? Are you grateful to me, Britisher? So I've moved him away now, so he can't respond. It's the perfect thing to do.
You didn't expect an answer to that, did you?
Not a serious one. But then we did get you to, like, say various phrases that could be turned into a rap at a later date in the last episode. So,
well, yes, actually, I believe it may have been the person who actually asked me to say it, who has since been on Twitter declaring that I obviously have an obsession in that regard.
Obviously.
Yeah.
You're very obvious. Oh, dear. Do any of you guys have any stories which are worth bringing up for fake accents before we round off for the evening? Because I've underprepared, it looks like, for our time.
I did send something in the chat bar earlier. It was just a fun little community thing that someone had done on BuzzFeed's site.
Do you still have a job at BuzzFeed quiz?
I saw that. That was funny.
We can try that one.
It's the fact someone actually posted it on BuzzFeed.
It's flawless, It's like the privilege quizzes and so on and so forth. They're quite funny. How long have we worked at BuzzFeed, guys? How long do you reckon? How long shall we say?
Forever and a day.
Less than 2 years, 2 to 3 years, 3 to 4 years. I remember when our holiday bonus was a drawing of a cat, and the CEO presented it as an investment.
I want to go with that one.
What's your department? Editorial, business, technology, or for the last 2 years I've done nothing but write personality quizzes. My boss assured me that I could try other things within the department, but she was just laid off. Are you a manager? No. Yes. Yes, because it was the only way for me to advance here. Then there wasn't much training, and now I fear I'm doing a poor job. But also I can't revert to being a writer because they say that I'm needed. It's so confusing. What's your favorite BuzzFeed memory? Seeing Grumpy Cat, all the lols, meeting Cole Sprouse from Riverdale, whoever that is. The Try Guys spent 8 hours trying to pop a weather balloon right by my desk. It was for Facebook Live, and the noise was very distracting. I missed a deadline, and my boss called me incompetent via Slack. Are you proud of your work at BuzzFeed? Of course. Not really. When I tell people at parties I work for BuzzFeed, their faces light up. They have so many questions. I feel so special. What will I become when this part of my identity is stripped away?
They were obviously madly petting a dog at this point as well.
Yes. A good boy who became sick of patting about 10 minutes after he arrived. Remember all that free Shiboni? What on earth is Shiboni?
No idea.
I have no idea. I presume it's like a yogurt or something. Maybe people will know. People will know.
Well, I think we're all just proudly too British to know.
I'm just glad. Yes, it's such a good perk. That blueberry was yum. Once I was so burned out that I sobbed in my HR representative's office. She hugged me and said everything would be okay. We were going to work out a plan, but then she stopped responding to my emails. Wasn't our holiday party lit? AF. Loved it. I got so drunk. Did you know, when you were spending that money on appetizers and an open bar, did you know you were paying for a celebration at the expense of people's livelihoods?
I love how suddenly they're very, very cynical.
You've brought a dog to the office. Does the dog help? Yes. Cats, please. I'm allergic. Pay for my unused PTO. I presume that's like a holiday or something. I don't know.
Time off, maybe?
Paid time off, maybe. Cats, please. Where do you see yourself in 6 months? Working for another media company, finishing my book, going back to school. I'd like to negotiate for more health insurance. I've just started reading about Cobra and it's so expensive. Please, I was a freelancer for years and that health insurance was so horrible. I just like personal gripes that people have. And finally, pick a color: red, blue, green, or unionize your media company.
Brilliant.
You're being laid off. I'm pretty sure that's the only answer that happens.
No, I think there is another answer. I seen someone post it on Twitter.
If we retake the quiz and just try and make it there, try and make it official. Are you proud to say you work for BuzzFeed? Remember, yes. AF, why not? You bring a dog, yes. Where do you see yourself? Finishing my book, I guess. I don't know. Or health insurance, why not? Finally, pick a color. Red, because we're all there. You still have a job. Sorry you have to deal with the aftermath of all this, but hey, at least the panic of worrying that you'll lose your job has forced you to back up all your important work files.
There are no important work files at BuzzFeed, let's be honest.
The idea that they have files, I mean, that would infer research, right?
Learn to code is the top comment.
Learn to code, yeah. That was an amazing meme. That is an amazing meme. Unionize and tell venture capitalists to go pound sand. If they think this is a good thing, push for more coding. Flood the market with coders. Raise the wage to as low as it can go. Looking at $15 an hour with minimum benefits. But learn to code. Why are people saying learn to code? I just don't get it. What does learning to code have to do with being fired? I love it. Like, I hope it's not a troll. I hope that's genuinely someone who's like, what is going on here? That's phenomenal. Yes. It's good. Right. I think that's all. That's all we have time for this evening. But
On
like,
that
I like
bombshell.
we lost a few viewers from doing that. So a little bit of a shorter one this evening. But thank you all very, very much for coming along, for seeing us. Thank you for supporting the interview and future content. If you want to support me, you can find my links to Patreon and PayPal in the description. And please check out my guests, the Britisher, Tailed Feature, and Discordia 3052. They're all channels that are worth your subscription. So thank you very much and good night. Take care, everyone.
Night.
Good night.
See you about.